Hey everybody, we're the PixelBlips podcast. Slight technical difficulty, I guess.
I'm clicking things and it's really far away.
We said last week we would talk about Amiibos. So
Yeah.
we're going to talk about Amiibos.
And other like weird NFC toy things that you really think
Yes.
would be more functional.
Yes.
I mean, like, so you made a really good point when we were talking before we started doing any shows today. Like,
Well, let's explain what Amiibo
Yeah,
is for the
okay.
3 people in our audience that probably doesn't know.
Okay.
Amiibo is NFC-enabled figurines.
They're
not action figures.
they're like little statues that have a chip in the base that talks to your
you
your
scan
Wii U
your
pad.
you scan it on your Wii pad, and it does something in the game.
It reads the chip and then updates it. It's kind of like, it's kind of like the chip that's in your bank cards.
Yes. So this may sound familiar for people that have maybe played Skylanders or Disney Infinity, where
Yeah,
you have the same sort of little statuette figure with a chip in the bottom of it. You scan it in on its pedestal, and it appears in the game, and you can then use that character in the game.
Yes. The big difference between the ones that you get for Skylanders and Disney Infinity and the ones that Nintendo are selling is the Nintendo ones are usually not... They have less functionality in the games that are designed to work for.
Yes. There's been a lot of problems with Amiibo so far, with poor production runs, them not looking like the
pre-production models
the
that they
pre-production
showed.
models that they showed, and that they sent out to stores, which I was like, I didn't know that they sent these out to stores, so there would be like a case of Amiibos, and then like Peach, and then right below it's the Peach figure that you buy, and it doesn't have the same detail.
It's completely different characters.
Like, that's bad, guys. And this kind of goes to show what I think Nintendo has been doing for the longest time, is figuring out a way to monetize their back catalog in the laziest way possible.
Yeah. Well, and you know, you could kind of say that with Mario Maker too, because then you can just be like, oh, palette swap between all the different ones that they're offering. But yeah, like.
But let's be honest, everyone's levels are gonna everyone's custom levels from Mario Maker are gonna suck.
I don't know. The Smash Brothers custom levels are pretty neat. Like, there's a lot of really cool stuff that I've seen in that so far. Just like YouTube videos and stuff. And then there's like the custom level that some guy made for like recovery tactics. It's like he basically set up different platforms and he judged how far out they went, and it was like the bottom guys were like 8 levels, whereas the top guy was like almost 30, and I think that's the villager from Animal Crossing, and he's such a troll character.
Yes. So at the moment, what Amiibo does is you scan it into your Wii U gamepad. Most Amiibos, and they will give you a CPU opponent that you can train and level up in Smash Brothers.
And I believe they also work with
Hyrule Warriors.
Hyrule Warriors, you'll get like random items or
Mario
things like
Kart?
that, and I believe Mario Kart works as well.
I think so.
But like the Mario Kart one, depending on what it is, it'll either be like a new cart or a new skin for a cart, or look, you get some add-on for a character.
But let's call a spade a spade. If you bought Smash Brothers, you have access to the whole game.
Yeah, you're not losing anything. It's
not like you need to go buy the Mario or Marth character Amiibo to get that character in the game. Now, in Disney Infinity, you
have to buy all the
Star-Lord, at the store from Guardians of the Galaxy. You scan him in, you can then play with Star-Lord. People that don't have Star-Lord can't play with Star-Lord.
No. That's the big difference
Which
between
is
the Marvel and Disney game.
And that's one thing I'm looking at, like, at the Amiibo stuff, like, okay, well then what's the point? It's not even like a memory card. It's not tracking my stats. It's tracking like made-up CPU stats.
Yeah, and that's really weird. Like that is super lazy. Now, granted, I would much rather Nintendo's way of doing it for. At the very least,
I'm glad it's this and not you have to go buy a Mario Amiibo.
You have to go buy the Mario one if you want to play with Mario, and you have to buy the Kirby one and the Marth one and all this other stuff.
But I think it goes to show you that they saw this NFC statuette functionality working really good in Skylanders, working really good in Disney Infinity.
And it did.
And they were like
gangbusters.
And they were like, we need a way to monetize this, so we're just going to do this in the laziest way possible. We're not going to build an Amiibo game, which would be cool.
Which they still might. Like, we don't know 100% what's coming, but...
That's still a maybe. That still could happen, but that's not what we have now. That's not what launched. If Disney Infinity, you scan in Star-Lord, for instance, you get the Milano, you get other things with it, that you can use in your toy box to build whatever levels you want to build.
Yeah.
The Amiibos don't have anything like that. Could you imagine the Amiibo game, you scan Mario in, you get like a Pistol Pete and Hammer Bros and other stuff to put in your little custom levels.
Yeah,
like
and that would be really really cool.
But that's not what we have.
Or like if you scan in Link, you then can hide rupees and bushes and chickens everywhere or something like that.
And it's because of stuff like this that I think that the Amiibo thing is very lazy, and sales are what they are. They're not selling to the same people that are getting Disney Infinity, that are getting Smash Brothers. They're selling to Nintendo fans.
But I mean, the thing
that
is,
are more closer to our age than middle school age.
Which I made reference to. It's like they don't make Pokemon games for little kids anymore. They're making Pokemon games for guys who are in their like mid to late 20s.
Yeah. We were at the movie theater, my wife and I there was a Pokemon commercial, and there was he was like a teenager. He was like 15 or 16.
Yeah.
As the new like person they're aiming Pokemon for, and I was just like, what? Like,
I mean,
like
that
when
game,
Pokemon launched, that would have been an 8-year-old in that commercial.
To be fair, that game came out right as we started high school. In this country, it came out in Japan like a year earlier, but here Pokemon came out like when we were freshmen in high school.
Yes.
So
well, the point of that is I feel like Nintendo is only taking advantage of their fan base. They're not trying to grow their fan base. They're not trying to give their fan base something cool. They're like, here's another thing that you can buy.
Yeah. Well,
that has minimal functionality in a game that you're also going to buy anyway.
One of the big problems is like I like the Amiibos.
I really thought here was the thing I thought
was going to
the Amiibos were going to be.
Yeah.
You would buy the Mario Amiibo, scan it into your Wii U, and it would unlock Super Mario Brothers.
See, now that is
I remember someone somewhere telling me that was going to happen.
That could
whether that was
happen.
like a Reggie like interview off the cuff and like the guy
I think that might have been
like,
something like some idea that they were thinking, and that would be. I would think that would be a way better idea.
Better.
That'd be a way better idea.
It's not like you couldn't also get this lame ass CPU tournament edition.
Yeah.
That the Amiibos do, and in all fairness, people are doing Amiibo only tournaments.
Which is really funny because like you just watch the AI fight itself and it's crazy.
Like to me, that doesn't seem interesting, but whatever.
But it's funny to watch. Like as an outsider, you'd be like, "Oh, these aren't real people." Well, no wonder because they're doing all these abilities super fast. But like that is a great idea.
Shit, but you would get like when you scanned Marth. Like I kind of want to buy Marth because I'm a big fan of Fire Emblem. Mm-hmm. If you scan Marth in, it unlocks Fire Emblem. The Dragon Sword, which is the one that he's in.
Whichever one.
The only one that's come out in the Western Hemisphere that he's in is Dragon Sword.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would be really cool. It does present some interesting issues with some of the newer characters that they've got in there. But
think about it this way: so we got Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad.
It would be nice,
right?
Yes.
So Super Mario Brothers for Mario.
Yeah.
Lost Levels for Luigi. Super Mario Brothers 2 USA for Peach. Super Mario 3 for Toad.
Even though Toad's not in that one. So maybe
he's in that one.
In 3? He's not in it as a playable character.
There we go, okay.
There is no Toad playable character.
Yoshi, put Yoshi in Super Mario World. Boom. Put it on the box. Because if I'm spending $15 on these
and that's the thing. They are expensive as shit for what you get out of them.
Yes.
$15.
I'm at Target. They're right next to the Disney Infinity. And I'm like, okay, well, over here I can buy Lilo and Stitch and have play with Stitch in a game.
Yes.
Or over here I just get shit.
I get a little figurine to put on my desk.
And if it had like a little sticker or something on it that said, "Buy this, get Star Fox," the original Star Fox.
Yeah, get an emulated version of the
Star Fox.
Star Fox.
I'd be like, okay, good. Then that is worth $15 because Star Fox is $10 on the Virtual Console.
Yeah, and that would be totally fine, right? Like Kirby, you get like the first Kirby game for
Villager,
the GBA.
You get the first Animal Crossing for GameCube.
Yeah, I mean, like that is something that would be fantastic for them to do.
But it's this thing. This is what Nintendo does. It comes with a really great idea and then leaves
a lot of potential on the table.
Yeah, and does it in the most lazy way possible.
And
it's like when they announced that new Star Fox game. It was like that looks. All this other shit you're talking about. I don't care about. I want to see what that is. Oh, that's nothing.
That's not ready yet. Or the stuff that they showed wasn't the stuff that they showed because didn't they have a Nintendo did something like the last couple of weeks, right?
They were at the Video Game Awards.
That's right. They were at
which was, if you didn't watch, that was very well done.
Yeah,
enjoyable to watch.
Jeff Keighley did a hell of a job with that. That was exponentially better than the Spike TV Game Awards or whatever it was. So good job, Jeff Keighley.
Good on you.
Way to use all that Doritos money.
And when we say that, it's DEW Ritos.
Doritos.
Doritos.
Yeah.
Not Doritos. Anyway.
those exist, and that's a disturbing thing.
I do like Mountain Dew.
I like Mountain Dew to a degree too, but not to that degree.
Dude, when they come out with the orange Mountain Dew, that live wire, whenever I see it, I'm just like, I know it's horrible for me, and it's like, if I end up with like horrible stomach eating disease, it's because of this, but God, it's so good.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'll tell you about
Anyway.
Who's to say like they won't do the
you have they can do like another game, you know, maybe with Splatoon, you scan in your
Amiibo and then you get to run around as Mario.
Yeah, that would be genius. Good on you. Steal that idea, Nintendo.
Steal that idea,
but
and
you're still
put our name in the
only
credits.
getting add-on bullshit for other games.
Yeah.
It's not like Skylanders where you're getting more shit for the game.
You know, for all we know, they're going to do a Mario game like that. I was thinking maybe...
For all we know, we don't know that they're going to do that. They haven't announced it. They haven't given us any hint that they will do anything like that.
But they haven't said that they specifically won't.
Yes.
So, I mean, that is something that could be coming.
So if you're holding on to that hope...
If you have all these Amiibos...
You are very optimistic.
You are very optimistic. If you bought all the Amiibos because they may discontinue certain ones...
Yes. Oh, so that's the thing that's been blowing up this last week, which I don't care about, because I think the Amiibo idea is bad anyway.
Well, I like the idea of the Amiibos. It's just it's underutilized.
Villager and Wii Fit Trainer, which were part of the first round of Amiibos that came out, will not have a second print run.
The equivalent of a second print run.
Yeah, the equivalent of a second print run. And that they were replacing those with other Amiibos. Now, guys, there's so many shelf space in a Target.
Yeah.
And clearly these Amiibos aren't the bang-up runaway hit that the Disney Infinity or the Skylanders have been.
Well, even then, though, like every time I go to like a Best Buy or whatever, I always see a ton of everything, like of the Amiibos and the Skylanders and the Disney Infinity.
They're all very, I mean, they're all very popular. It's just Amiibo.
There's only so much physical shelf space
on that thing. And there's only so much physical shelf space. And if they're going to bring out things like Little Mac from Punch-Out and Donkey Kong, you know, if it was ever
Game Watch and you know the Duck Hunt dog and
if I might actually buy the Duck Hunt dog, I would like to have that on my desk. And if they would put out Andy's Wet Dream and have a Ness Amiibo,
no, they won't.
It would be wonderful. Yeah, have a Rob the Robot Amiibo. If they're gonna have those things coming out, they're gonna need to stop producing the other ones.
Yes.
You know, you're always gonna need Link. You're always going to need Mario.
Yeah.
You'll probably, you know...
They probably won't get a Peach
I obviously can't
Luigi.
think of anyone else that you always need.
Samus?
No. She's not that popular.
You would think. Maybe. Like, I don't know. I would like to see
I mean, that one Samus with 2 blasters on it sold for like
But that was a manufacturing defect. Like, but the legless
I'm talking
Peach.
Like, is there any Amiibo character that you feel like they always need to have out?
I would say... Link, Mario, Kirby.
Really?
I would think so.
I'm a huge-ass fan of Kirby.
I love Kirby.
I'm a huge-ass fan of Kirby, but when was the last time a Kirby game outsold Mario?
Never, because they don't make them.
When was the last time...
the last Kirby game they made was Epic Yarn.
Yeah.
I think.
So it's just the thing. It's like... There's two, like if it was...
They have two...
We'll take Nintendo out of it, okay? We'll take Nintendo out of it. We'll look at this. If you were going to say...
I just can't wait for Sony to come out with theirs and it'll be like, oh, here's your Nathan Drake.
I would also not. If they came out and it was like scan Nathan Drake
but you get all the Uncharted games on your PS4.
If they were
and it was like $20.
If they were to come in and
it was like this tall.
Here's the PlayStation Amiibos. You scan them into the new version of Smash All Stars.
Yeah.
And you just get a CPU opponent. I'd be like, I'm also not buying those.
But I think Sony would be like,
but let's take it out of this. So we'll say Sony characters. What Sony characters do you feel like they should always have available?
Obviously Kratos. Maybe the Killzone guys.
I would say no, not Killzone. I would say Nathan Drake and Kratos.
Those would be the two big ones. But I mean, you could also throw in, you know.
We're talking. Okay, so
if you were gonna do like the cast of All Stars, that would work.
Okay, we'll double this. We'll double it up, and we'll say, if you were to pick out 4 Nintendo characters, they always need to have.
Well, then you're just like, oh well, Mario,
Link, Kirby,
Princess,
Peach,
yeah, and maybe Kirby.
Okay, so then
or Yoshi, maybe Yoshi instead of Kirby.
So then I would say Yoshi instead of Kirby. So then if we were to keep this production run going, we would have to shift in new characters. We have to take the ones that are not one of those 4 out.
Yeah.
Which means Villager. I'm sad to say Marth, but I understand why. And Wii Fitness Trainer, because remember when they announced Wii Fitness Trainer, we all went, why?
What? Why?
I guess you guys needed, you want to fill up another, another spot on the roster, but sure. Like, I would rather have.
Does she do like yoga poses and stuff?
She does.
Okay.
I would rather have Ephraim and his sister from Fire Emblem Shining Stones than the Wii Fit trainer. But
what about the Ice Climbers? Where's the Ice Climbers amiibo? Are they even in
They're not in the new Smash.
Damn it! Damn it!
They got rid of those so that we could have the Wii Fit trainer.
No, Ice Climbers.
I mean, it's just one of those things. Like, they're gonna. So now people are like, oh, we got to get Marth. If you're gonna have Marth, you got to buy Marth now. Like, well, no, you don't ever have to buy Marth.
They're manufacturing scarcity of items.
They're manufacturing scarcity of items, which is what you do in these cases with these things. But unlike Disney Infinity,
they're not
unlike
useful.
Skylanders, if they stop making Star-Lord, which they will probably not stop making Star-Lord
for a little while.
But let's see. There's Star-Lord, Rocket, Groot, and then there's a 2-pack with Drax and Gamora in it. Okay, so if I were to stop making somebody in that group,
that would probably be Drax and Gamora.
I would go, well, that's why they're together. So I would stop making Star-Lord because kids are going to want Groot. Kids are going to want Rocket. So if they stop making Star-Lord and you can't buy Star-Lord anywhere and you can't get a hold of Star-Lord, you can't scan Star-Lord into your game, you can't play with Star-Lord in the game.
Yes, I understand how this works.
So there's an actual, like...
There's an actual scarcity to it.
There's an actual scarcity to it, unlike what Nintendo was doing where there's like, you know what, guys, this is...
We're not going to sell this anymore. It's a collectible item. Go.
Yeah, these are basically like the little...
Even though it does them absolutely no good to create a scarcity with these items, because they don't ever see a dime of the secondhand sales on these.
Well, and that's the other thing is... they're basically the build quality of those vending machine toys.
Yeah.
Slapped on an NFC base.
Yeah, just a little.
And it's just like, really,
it's like a small hockey puck that they sit on.
This is the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah. Well, and like you were saying,
people are upset because they're like, oh, people are saying they're discontinuing the Amiibos. So Nintendo fanboys get upset because they're like, because
I spent all this money on the ones I have now.
Sales have shown the Amiibos are not doing as well as Disney Infinity and Skylanders. So they get their butt hurt and they go, oh, they're not discontinuing it. Nintendo said they're not discontinuing it. When what Nintendo said was, hey, to make more of these available, there's only so many factories and plastic and shitty NFC chips and shelf space to put these on. So we're going to have to trade some out.
Which
is totally fine.
Yeah, then that's fine.
As a guy that collects comic books, eventually the comic book isn't printed again.
Yeah. Which and they only make so many copies of they only made so many copies of your ninja, or what is that? The Goemon, Mystical Ninja Goemon for the N64. They only made so many copies of that. Why? Well, for one, not really a huge American.
Although if there was a Goemon amiibo,
you would buy that.
I would totally buy that. That would be like if Konami came out and said, "Hey, Andy, we're putting out classic Konami amiibos," I'd be like, "Sure."
Okay.
Capcom comes out when they do the Mega Man amiibo, because he's not out yet. I might buy a Mega Man amiibo.
I would buy a Mega Man amiibo.
If it doesn't look like the other amiibos have looked.
Well, and that's just it, right? Like, they are of varying degrees of quality, but it's like Mega Man. I mean, as long as he's
like the best amiibo.
Blue, it's good.
This is the best looking amiibo I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Kirby.
Well, that's because
he's
simple.
Just a pink thing of plastic.
He's a little pink ball with a face.
That looks like Kirby. That doesn't look shitty. Like, I was in Target and the Mario I was looking at, his eyes were wall-eyed. Because they didn't print the eyes correctly.
When I was looking this way, the other one was going this way, and you're like where are you
Mario's
looking, Mario?
It's like that Family Guy joke, except the guy with the lazy eye. He was looking at me and the vending machine in the hallway.
That's right. And it's I understand.
Like the Link amiibo has that weird ass stand that he sits on that looks like he's peeing. Like, why did you choose that color?
Doesn't the Princess Peach one, like, isn't she like in a stance like this where she's like both her legs are off the ground or something?
I don't know.
And she has like a little piece of plastic that just goes up to the bottom of the
and the other thing is all these little plastic supports, which as a thinking adult I realize that you have to have, or else that little cheap piece of plastic will snap off the amiibo stance when it's in their backpack, assuming any child actually buys this.
Well, I mean, even then though, the NFC chips have a large enough range you don't have to take them a lot of times. I don't know if this is the same.
I've seen people that take
they just take the thing and just put it on there, and they're like, here you go, okay.
Yeah, it
reads through the plastic, through the packaging.
I've seen people take the Disney Infinities and cut the statue off and repaint it and then reattach it. which always look much better than the Disney Infinity, like the ones you buy. But that's always the case. So, but like Mega Man's very simple, like blue, in his eyes.
Yeah.
Like it's Sonic the Hedgehog.
As long as his eyes don't go like this, where he's looking in two different directions, you're fine.
And that's the other thing is the build quality on these things have been all the way from decent to abysmal.
Yeah.
Like people have like in my Target when I was looking at things, there was a Wii Fit trainer that had already inside its box snapped off its leg.
And I've seen
it's $15.
Well, and you know you've seen the Kirby one, right? Where because
Kirby's just in the box because he's just a round piece of plastic and nothing's gonna break.
There's nothing like they didn't put like the foam, or not the foam, but like the shaped plastic around him to save money, so that they don't snap off in transit, or at least you don't notice it until you open it.
Yeah.
No, Kirby just bounces around all inside his little box, and it's
so once again, Nintendo has done something that would have ostensibly been a really cool idea. In the laziest way possible.
Oh yeah, and you know I really hope they steal the idea of if you buy this game, you get something.
Everything post GameCube, I would say, has been Nintendo having a really good idea and just doing it in the laziest way possible.
Yeah, I mean, and they're looking
like
for
the Wii U tablet functionality is a really cool idea done in the laziest way possible.
Yeah, I mean they're trying to bring people in and they're trying to recreate the magic of the Wii, and I don't think it's ever going to happen. At least not until they try really hard and don't half-ass it.
Yes,
that's the problem.
But you know the good news is they didn't have a huge loss this past quarter. They're back in the red. Thank you.
You mean the black?
The black. Sorry, I was.
They've been in the red for a while, and that's not a good place for them.
Mixed up, and which is really bad because at one point it was going to be an accountant, but it's a
good thing you edit video.
Yeah, thanks to Mario Kart 8 and Super Smash Brothers, they're back in they haven't seen according to their financials, they have not seen the Wii U console uptick in sales that they would like, but it is a steady incline.
Yeah,
but keep in mind,
software helps.
Now,
they're 2 years in.
2 years in, they're the slowest selling console with the least amount of people. You know, the Xbox One has leapfrogged them.
Yes.
According to Microsoft's numbers of shipped to stores,
but, I mean,
whether or not those are actually in homes, who cares?
The Wii U, I mean, it's not going. I don't think it's ever going to be. You can't recreate the magic that was the Wii U, the original Wii. It's just not. I don't think it's possible. They're not going to hit 100 million units in the life cycle of this system.
No, I think you're looking at a GameCube. It's gonna
peter out around 20 or 30.
30 probably. That Zelda game. See when the
thing
with the GameCube was the Zelda game came in the middle of its lifespan and then again at the end. So with the Wii U, they had the HD remix, which whatever, and now they're gonna have this new one. You'll see a sizable boom, but what we know from things like Mario Galaxy and stuff like that is those aren't drivers of because once again the people buying all this shit is our age.
Yeah.
Like
because little kids don't have money.
Mario Galaxy's really good, but I'm not gonna buy a Wii U for it.
Nope.
I might buy a Wii U for the next Zelda game if it is amazing.
If it is everything they're promising, it looks really cool. But all the footage that we've seen of it hasn't been direct capture.
Yes.
It was over the shoulder or recording off a TV.
Yes. Once again, in the laziest way possible.
As far as we know, I mean, they might have doctored the shit out of that video, and I don't know. You're the video guy. You can tell whether or not when he puts his hand up, if they had to like tear out the video that was there and then like recreate it and not do his hand. I don't know. I had heard some weird stuff about that, but that looks really cool. And in fact, one of the screenshots from that is my background, like on my desktop.
It does look really cool, but also at the same token, I don't know that I'm excited about Zelda anymore.
I mean, I would be excited about Zelda. Skyward Sword, what I've played of it, I only played like the first 2 dungeons of it. It's kind of a bummer. Bomb bowling was really bad.
Yes.
Don't bomb bowl. Don't.
So I mean, it's just, I mean, it is what it is.
I mean,
like, do I think we're gonna have the same Nintendo? Like, we'll go back to Andy. You know,
well, in 10 years, assuming you have a kid in the next couple of years, and he's like 8 or 9 when the next Wii U comes out, or the next.
Yeah, I'll buy him a Wii U.
Or
like, I'll buy a Nintendo system for my kid.
Yeah, because.
But do I think that by the time I have kids, and that kid is old enough to play video games, that he will want a Nintendo system?
Maybe.
Like a 3DS? Yeah. Like a console? No. Because I don't think they're going to make them.
Well, and I think, and this is the problem I think Nintendo still suffers from is a lot of their games, while not they don't come out and say these games are targeted at kids. They have a very kid-like feel, and I think they still feel like
that has been Nintendo's problem since day one.
And they still feel like they're in
Sega beat them on that, PlayStation beat them on that, Xbox 360 beat them on that.
Like, they still feel like they're making toys for children.
Yes.
Instead
and
of
the Amiibo is definitely a toy for children.
Yes, and that's what they're trying to go for, but they don't understand, in this country at the very least, who is buying all this stuff.
Yes.
Like, obviously, it's adults buying it, but are they buying it for themselves, or are they buying it for their kids? They're probably buying it for themselves.
Is the PlayStation 4 such a gangbuster success because people are buying it for their kids? No. It's because they're buying it for themselves.
And yeah, there are going to be games, there are games out there for kids to play on it, but for the most part, they are way more like PG-13 up type experiences.
It is what it is.
Yes.
We'll see you next week.